Hi, boys and girls. Mrs. Shriver here. I have a book for you. This book is titled Althea Gibson, The Story of Tennis's Fleet of Foot Girl. It was written by Reid and illustrated by Freeman. You ready? Here we go. The championships at Wimbledon, England were where the most famous tennis athletes in the world competed to be the best. Sharp white collars, sharp white pleats, sharp white lines. But in 1940s Harlem, the quickest, tallest, and most fearless athlete was Althea Gibson. At 13, Althea didn't know what Wimbledon was, and she didn't care. When summer came and school let out, the only thing on her mind was this: the play streets up on 143rd. For 2 months, the neighborhood's streets were barricaded off, and the kids ruled the hot asphalt. Althea, Althea! Everywhere she went, they called the Fleet of Foot girl to play. Althea played all right. Stickball with the boys, basketball with the girls, paddle tennis with anyone and everyone who would hit with her. She reigned supreme. If she put her mind to it, Althea was always the best at everything except sitting still. When summer was over and traffic returned to Harlem's busy streets, she still needed to move. Althea heard about a place 6 blocks up where black folks could play tennis. The Cosmopolitan Tennis Club. She walked in like she already belonged, grabbed a ball and a racket, and started to swing. Who is she? The grown-ups at the club asked. She could sprint and turn and leap like a natural. I'm Althea Gibson, she announced, smiling widely. You should play with me. She found her new play streets on the club's courts. She loved the way the balls cracked, pow, against her racket's taut strings. She started to spend more and more time at the Cosmopolitan. There, Althea wasn't just scrappy, long-legged tomboy. No, she was pure talent. Pure force. The managers knew her family didn't have much money, so they let her do odd jobs in exchange for lessons. Maybe, just maybe, the folks at the Cosmopolitan thought, this Fleet of Foot girl could play tennis against the country's best. There was one big problem: laws and white people's prejudices that kept black and brown Americans from claiming the same rights to work, vote, buy property, and live freely. Black people could play tennis in their own league, but never with white people. Clubs like the Cosmopolitan were rare. Who could challenge Althea when she had already beat everyone there? Being the quickest, tallest, most fearless player in Harlem wasn't enough for Althea. She wanted to be a tennis champion. She started traveling for matches and training with other black players in the American Tennis Association. She had a big serve and an even bigger personality. She was so eager to prove herself that she wasn't always kind. She never wished other players good luck and would taunt them while they were hitting. She even threw a temper tantrum a time or two. Nothing felt better than winning. and she hated when something got in the way of that. There was another tennis association where women could compete for championships, but everyone in it was white. White women could play tennis on better courts, with better equipment, and compete at the international Grand Slams in Paris and in Queens and Wimbledon. To be the best in the world, Althea would have to leave the all black leagues and play the strongest champions, no matter what nationality or race they were. Journalists marveled at her wins and began to write about her in newspapers. Famous players argued her cause. They say that she deserved more. And back in New York, kids still told stories about that girl Althea. How she'd beat anyone in the net in netball and handball and fly through hopscotch so fast you couldn't even see her. A Harlem kid, like them. Slowly, the world was changing. African Americans had been told they were separate but equal for far too long. But Althea knew she could be more than equal. She could be the best. Finally, in 1950, Althea was accepted to the U.S. Championships. She lost her first set of matches, but she refused to quit. By then, she had learned a little more about being a gracious loser. I don't mind getting beat. The more I am beaten, the more I will learn, she said. Sometimes she was lonely. In the locker rooms, Althea was left out of the other players' inside jokes and secrets. She wasn't rich. She didn't look like them. She didn't play like them. But when she charged the net, no one could doubt her confidence and power. When the season ended, she still craved the court, just like when autumn came and the play street's barricades were put away. She just couldn't sit around. Althea was off to travel the world. Forehands in France, ground strokes in Germany, backhands in Burma, serving in Sweden. Althea just kept winning and winning. In Paris, she even became the first person to win a Grand Slam. But Althea had her sights on claiming the silver trophy at Wimbledon, the biggest and best tournament of them all. Here's her outfit. It was 1957, and the fleet of foot girl had earned it. For those 2 weeks in Wimbledon, Althea played better than ever. Her shots were cleaner. Her volleys were quicker. Nothing was going to keep her away from the championship. When she strode onto center court to compete for the Wimbledon final, hers was the only black face in a sea of sharp white collars and sharp white pleats. So Althea focused on the grassy court's sharp white lines, just like the ones at the Cosmopolitan, or the ones she'd drawn with chalk on the play streets. She took a deep breath, bounced the white tennis ball. 1, 2, 3. Almost before she knew it, game, set, and match. That year, Althea became the first ever Black person, man or woman, to win a championship at Wimbledon. And then in 1958, she did it again. The Queen handed Althea her prize. She danced and sang with joy at the Wimbledon Champions Ball. Pretty dress. She'd made it. But best of all, back in New York, that summer, they threw her a ticker tape parade. Althea! Althea! They cheered loudly for the quickest, tallest, and most fearless girl Harlem had ever seen. Here's your ticker tape parade in Harlem. What a great story. If you turn the page, I really want y'all to get this book and read it at home with your moms, dads, aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, brothers and sisters, whoever's living at your house. In the back here, it has a nice timeline of her life and her accomplishments. She was born in South Carolina in 1927, and she lived all the way to 2003. So she had a nice long life playing tennis. Hope y'all have a great week.